why your networking isn't working. In this video, we're going to talk about why it's so difficult to understand how to successfully build relationships and expand your network with key parties so that you're able to obtain more clients, cases, and referrals for your business. If this is something that interests you, then make sure that you hit that like button and the subscribe button. Now, let's jump into the presentation. So why is it so difficult to get someone's attention? Perhaps you've already tried this yourself. You've sent someone a message on LinkedIn, or you've sent them an email. Maybe you've even used a list of email addresses and reached out to people, and you've received no to very little responses. Well, it's quite common, and it is only natural that that is the case, because we are all facing information overload to some extent. We get a lot of cold outreach via email and perhaps even by phone and text from companies and individuals that want to sell services to us. And if we just put ourselves into the recipient's shoes, if we're receiving all of that communication, it usually takes a whole lot more than just an email for us to be open to engaging with someone from a business point of view. So this is something that we're going to talk more about, just the depths and details of why this is. The main reason why it's difficult to build relationships is because of the delayed feedback loop. And what I mean by that is simply that initiatives will rarely generate immediate results, especially in the context of relationship building, because, well, relationships by nature aren't built overnight. It's something that takes time. And if we're trying to establish a relationship with someone and we're trying to do business with them, then chances are that we're going to have to allocate a fair amount of time and energy to make sure that that happens. And because of the fact that it takes time, it also makes it difficult to gauge the impact of our business development activities, because if you are doing something today and you get immediate feedback, well, that's great. But if you're doing something today and the feedback is delayed, well, then you don't really know if your activity is very effective or not. And this also means that you will have challenges in deciding what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. Essentially, it will be challenging to prioritize. And I think the easiest way to describe this is by way of an example. So if we look at someone who owns a restaurant and they're looking to get more business, let's say that they decide to advertise in the local paper. So they'll advertise in the local paper, and they will do so by including a voucher. So for anybody who comes in on Saturday, they will get 25% discount on the lunch menu. So this owner puts the ad in the local paper midweek, and come Saturday, restaurant is packed. So this owner will very likely be able to deduct that if he advertises in the local paper in a similar way again, then very likely he's going to have more guests on the following Saturday. So that scenario doesn't apply when you're talking about providing professional services, similar to what a consultant would do, for instance, because the efforts that we put in won't generate that immediate feedback loop. It could be months, who knows, it could even be years before you're successfully able to monetize the relationship and start delivering value. And this creates some challenges for us. How does that practically affect you? Well, for some people, it means that they simply don't act at all because they don't know what to do. And for others, it means that they will give up along the way. They will start and then they will decide that they're not interested in finishing because they're simply not seeing the results. The challenge here is that you may start an activity today and do it for 2 months. You're not seeing the results that you want to, and you simply give up. Your lack of results may stem from the fact that the activities that you performed aren't the right type of activities. So you're essentially wasting time, money, and energy. And if you continue for an additional 2 months, you will not see any further results. It will just be a status quo. Now, On the other hand, it could be a question of you actually performing the right type of activities. And it's just a question of you having to do it for a little bit longer to see results. So you've done it for 2 months. If you spend an additional 2 months, then the results will start to materialize. Now, with this type of ambiguity and uncertainty, it's almost like trying to get through a maze because you don't know which route to take and you don't know how long it will take you to get to the other end successfully. But what's the reason for this other than the delayed feedback loop? Well, let me introduce you to two key concepts here. The first one is incremental growth, and the second one is plateauing. And let's spend a little bit of time talking about them now. When it comes to incremental growth, it has to do with the fact that results are delayed. So the time that you put into your business development efforts, your networking efforts today, typically will take some time to materialize, especially if we're talking about cold contact cultivation, where you are trying to connect with potential clients and referral parties, and then trying to get to know those contacts over a period of time to the point where you're able to start delivering value and also monetizing those relationships. That's generally not something that happens overnight. It always takes time. And the efforts that you put in today will build up and it will have accumulative effects. And ultimately, you will start seeing the results. This is very similar to you putting money into a savings account. These days, you're not getting much interest at all. It may even be negative. But for argument's sake, let's just say that you get 2% interest on a savings account annually. Now, if you put in $100 today, that $100 will grow to $102. And then it will continue to grow from that base of $102. And eventually it will have an exponential effect. The longer the time period, the more your money will grow. And it's very similar with the efforts that we're putting into networking and network cultivation. So hopefully that explains incremental growth. Now, when it comes to plateauing, it's a little bit different. What that essentially means is that along your business development journey, you will hit plateaus. Now, this may be a factor of both internal and external reasons. Some of the internal reasons would be that you're starting off as a one-man band, one-woman band, you do everything yourself. You do marketing, you do client onboarding, you do service delivery, you do accounting, etc., etc., etc. That makes it very challenging for you to put more emphasis on your business development activities because your time is very limited. So at some stage, this becomes unsustainable and you will hit a plateau and it will be difficult for you to increase your revenue, to get more clients, to get more referrals. So an easy way of solving that would simply be to start hiring some people for your company or start outsourcing some of these tasks to external service providers. Now, further on in your journey, you may be faced with other challenges. There may be a pandemic, which is an external reason, and you will plateau for that very reason. So there's always things that will happen along the way, which will require you to improve the efficiency of your business. And it may also require you to run things in slightly different ways. This is why it's so important to be in control of your business development and your networking and be active rather than be reactive. Hopefully you found that information useful. And if you did, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, then let me know and we'll be sure to respond to you. Thanks very much for listening in, and I'll see you in the next one.